you would say that I'm going to give the slight advantage to Adriano. Although we've seen Filipe put together some great heats in some challenging conditions. So again, you know, he's going to be a tough competitor. We know that for sure, but I think slight advantage over on ADF and takes a world title, which is obviously the dream fulfilled.
Here goes the 21-year-old Filipe Toledo. And he gets caught behind on this first ride. Adriano de Souza. Adriano eyeing off this second wave in the set. Bit of foam on the face here. Looks committed at this point though. Just winding through a couple of carves. Nothing to get too excited about just yet, but
kind of heads back out, pretty even Steven. You know, the second wave of the set, you know, you usually get a little cleaner face. This one had some froth on it, which made it a little more difficult to kind of engage in that first turn. Now get some clean water for those second and third turns, but right here at the end, you would think always completes that move, always gets that first probably good score. If he completes that ride, you know, it's that upwards of a fair, like, you know, high five, maybe into the 6. And then here Filipe looking like he was just paddling into it.
There's probably going to be some amazing rides today, so it's hard to say.
Tell me a little bit about your interpretation of this wave, because it seems like you love it, which not everybody on the tour does, and it seems like you're drawing a different line out there.
Yeah, I love this wave. It's such a fun wave. Like I said the last couple of heats, it's just you go so fast out there, and to be able to draw lines going fast almost feels like snowboarding or something, so I like that about it.
wave brilliantly. Let's have a look at it.
Again, so you see how he carries the speed. He's doing those bottom turns kind of pretty far up the wave, and I think that's one of the tricks to keeping and holding those speeds through the maneuvers. So good read here from Filipe, again starting and finishing his move very early in that last closeout section, not wanting to deal with the convergence of that whitewater. So again, good choice of maneuvers. I mean, the flow of this wave is a little bit affected by chasing it. You know, he does some wiggles at the bottom there to keep that speed up. You know, he would have liked to just hold that edge all the way.
It's tough to lose, but, you know, against John, like, he's, as you say, he's on fire right now. He's ready for another world title maybe. And I just did my best, you know. I'm pretty happy about my performance. I just needed to be in a better position to get the first one, you know, and that would have changed the whole contest for me. Yeah.
You know, straight-faced, but as soon as left the interview, there's big smiles on Michelle. So good job there, Barton. Replay here of Adriano's last wave. Flat start. You know, this wave did not have much of vertical face. Nice big round turns. I like that. But then the fall. And of course that affected the score. Only gets a 3. This is a much better wave for Filipe. You know, nice deep bottom turn, which is hard to do to hold your speed all the way through that maneuver. But he had that nice steeper section on the outside. Gets this inside section too and shows us a little different line. That little check, you know, a little whip. And then the finish, he makes sure that he gets all the way down, and even still, it converges and squirts out the bottom and gets it.
At the same time, I think why not have a crack at it? Here we go. De Souza up with a big piece of wall stretching out in front of him off the bottom. Puts that step up board on rail a couple of times. Looking for prospects on the inside now. Cutting back, setting this wave up really well. A tricky section to deal with. He just stops his board into a little layback there. Not his best turn, but from the 2015 World Champ, a good read on a very tricky piece of water. And Filipe
and Carvey, and it's just a different line. Again, you know, anytime you can show a little difference, you see he carries a ton of speed into this turn, but you see how that arc is nice and round. He doesn't really ever have that punctuation mark where he like really, you know, hits it. It's just these big, beautiful round arcs. Same thing here, he gets in a little bit of a tricky section there, but again, trying to fit that maneuver in so early can be a bit of a challenge, so you kind of end up doing these kind of different style of turns to make sure that you can get out in front of the whitewater. Behind him on the next wave, Filipe. You know, this feels like this score is going to be right around his 2 previous waves. Probably seeing Adriano on the inside going, you know what, I'm going to kick out here.
And Filipe well positioned to get into this one. Needs to lay down something big here. A beautiful big drawn out carve. Taking that line from the top right down to the trough. This wave flattening out just a little. Let's see if the end section cooperates.
And maybe not necessarily, like you said, in air, but this was a nice execution of rail. Look at this, just holds it all the way through. Again, he kind of similar to John, where he was able to kind of punch the fins right when he slowed down enough. You know, that turn was very big. It's going to be the best wave of the heat, I believe, just because of the strength of that first turn. Plus, he was able to finish there. And take a look at this turn again. So he's carrying a ton of speed. You saw he got all that speed off the bottom where he lays into this one. Again, at that arm back, puts all your weight on that back foot when you have that layback jam like that. But that one is like a layback carve. A little bit different than the snap.
So I love watching him surf. Love it.
I mean, it's great stuff. And then he went really far down the bottom here. And you see he almost has to double pump right here. Again, he just gets a little extra squirt and then goes into this next turn. But going all the way to the bottom, that's the risk. Is that,
that time is ticking by for the 2015 world champion.
You know, you look and you follow golf, right? There's certain holes on a golf course, right, that you would try to capitalize on. And they would be not your strong points, but when you can put a good hole together, very similar to what we see with the venues, and you have 11 venues here. Sometimes there's those venues you know you're going to be able to capitalize on, and some that you're not. I think that Filipe would have been coming here going, you know what, if I can get in quarterfinals, and now he finds himself in the semifinals, that is a huge result. That's like getting an eagle.